And today I have an exciting guest on for you. Her name is Maria Wendt, and Maria has some fascinating stuff to talk to you today about. She's going to be talking about graphic design, web design, and how you can accomplish branding your business on a budget. How to do that in such a way that you're not going to break the bank. You know, some people spend tens of thousands of dollars just to come up with a logo and a brand look and a website and all of that. And Maria is going to talk to us today about how not to do that and still come up with a great look and a fantastic brand for your company. So without any further ado, I really would like to welcome Maria to our show today. Maria, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Laura. I really appreciate this. It's been good getting to know you.
So Maria, before we get too far into how people can save money and come up with a really good brand, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in this great business? Because I know you have some wonderful things going on in your design business.
Yeah, thank you. I have been doing graphic design since I was 12. My dad actually gave me an old laptop and this really old, outdated graphic design software. And he's like, just have fun with it, just go for it. And so ever since I was 12, I just spent so much time learning how the software worked, what makes good graphic design, what makes a poor logo. And it was just instantly, as soon as I had that laptop in my hands, I knew that I had found my passion in life, and I knew that I had found something that I wanted to do. And so ever since then, I mean, I'm 22 now, so it's been 10 years of just slowly learning and increasing my skill and learning like even more like how to build not so much like a logo now, but more like a brand, how to build a brand as a company. And there's a huge difference. But either way, it's my passion.
Well, tell us real quick what that difference is, because I think sometimes people do confuse a logo with an actual brand. Can you maybe explain to people what that difference is?
Yeah, sure. It's okay. So a logo is a aspect of your brand. The brand is the overarching umbrella under which every point that your company has with its target audience. So a website is part of the brand. A logo is part of the brand. Your marketing message is part of the brand. Any Facebook groups, Twitter, all of that. That's all on the underarching umbrella of your brand, and a logo is just one aspect of it. And so what I've learned over the years is how to develop that cohesive look to all parts that your company reaches your target audience.
I think that's so awesome that you say that, because that, of all of the things in my business, that's the one thing that I have struggled with the most. And I worked with a branding coach here probably a month or so ago, and we talked about me coming up with a little bit more of a cohesive look, because my website didn't necessarily match my Facebook page, and and I would say that I'm not quite there yet. And I know you and I talked about that a little bit before we even started this show, about spending so much money on a branding and then deciding, that's not really what I'm all about, and here I've wasted all of this money, and trying to come up with something on a budget so that you can make those changes later. Do you find that a lot of the people that you do branding for do change their mind at some point?
Yeah, I think a couple things. I think like a lot of times as we are just starting out in our businesses, we tend to have this vision for what we want, but then as we learn more about what makes good marketing and what makes good promotion, what makes good, I don't know, even design, like we understand that, oh, this idea that I had for my logo even just 3 months ago, I recognize now that that's not what's going to be a good fit for my target audience. And so as you grow in knowledge, your understanding of what makes a good brand changes, and that's why your brand changes so much at the beginning. And so I think that as a new person starting out, it's really important that you don't spend a ton of money investing in your branding, because it's going to change, almost guaranteed. It's going to change as soon, like 3 to 4 or 5 months, you're going to want to change it. But at the same time, you're going to be kind of held back because, oh, I just invested $3,000 in my branding 3 months ago. So it doesn't become feasible.
Yeah, and I have found that, I mean, so true for myself, and I do a lot of business coaching for different clients, and I find that to be true for them too. They'll come to me with this great business idea and think that they want to go one direction, and several months down the road, they find out that they want to tweak that, or it's not working for them at all, or whatever. And here they've spent so much money on that original direction that they thought they wanted to go on, that there's no money left for them to change direction. And that's sometimes pretty sad, and it can really make somebody's business kind of, it can cause people to not only lose a lot of money, but motivation as well. And so what you're doing, offering people an opportunity to brand themselves right out of the gate for such a small amount of money, is you know, just incredible. And let's talk about that. I know you offer package deals. That's something else that a lot of graphic designers, web designers, they don't offer. They're just like, okay, well, I'm going to charge you this much for the logo and this much for, you know, this element of it. But you're doing actual packages. Is that how I understand it?
Yes, that's correct. The reason why I offer packages is for a couple of reasons. One, it fits my target audience. My target audience is online entrepreneurs, and they're very used to that whole package deal. You know, you have the like $1,500 for the business coach package, or the, you know, whatever. Like, they're used to to buying it in terms of packages. And so because I have an understanding of who my target audience is, I automatically know that I should be creating products that they're familiar with and they're comfortable with. And the second reason is so I do offer a very high quality branding at a very low cost. And part of the way that I offer that is by offering like a contained package. So instead of saying like you're gonna have this like unlimited website with, you know, I kind of contain it. So there's like, here's this package and here's what here's everything that you're going to get in it.
Yeah. So tell me, for example, I know that you've done a lot, like I think maybe you even mentioned it in the fitness world, you know, where you do a lot of things for fitness trainers and things like that. What could somebody say that wanted to start a gym? What could they expect to get from you if you were going to offer them a package deal?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So if you're a gym owner, you would get a package. So it'd be like this: you come and you would get a logo, you would get a website, and then social media promotional images. So whether that would be typically what I do is it's a template for their social media posts. Like, you know, a lot of fitness people, they post like inspirational quotes with like the little nice background behind it.
Yeah.
And so that's a way for me to help them promote themselves on social media without breaking the bank. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that one of the things that was really confusing to me at first, because really I'm just a life coach. I don't know graphic design or anything like that. If the whole terminology was so foreign to me when I first started out and was trying to market myself, especially online. And when I first started my life coaching business, I was fortunate to live in an area that was small, and I didn't have to worry about marketing or branding myself. I mean, I came up with a name for my coaching agency, and that was it. But what I found is I moved from that area, and all of a sudden I had to figure out how to brand myself and market myself, and I didn't know anything. And I really had to rely on and trust people that knew better than me to do that. And so if somebody came to you and said, I don't have a clue, I don't know what look I want, I don't know what would be best for my business, do you sort of coach them or counsel them as to, hey, well, let's talk a little bit about your vision and then kind of go from there?
Yeah, that's my perfect client. Most of my people, they come to me and they're just getting started and they have no idea what they want, or they've been really struggling because they've tried to do the logo themselves and it just isn't working. And they're like, Maria, I have no idea what I want. I don't know the words for anything. I don't know how to describe it. And so I'm like, all right, that's perfect. I offer several workbooks. So I have like a logo workbook, a website workbook, and a client experience workbook. And what that does is it asks them questions that they can answer. And it's not like a ton of questions, but it's enough to kind of dig deep and figure out what they actually want for their brand. And then what we do is after going through all those workbooks, then we set up a Pinterest board, and they go through Pinterest and they find different logos that they like, or colors that they like, or website elements that they like, and we pin it all onto one board, and then we call that their vision board, and that becomes their vision for their brand. And that's a great way for people who have, you know, they're just getting started, they don't know what they want. It helps them find clarity with their brand.
Oh, I think that's a wonderful idea. I would never have thought about doing that vision board. I have my clients do that for other things, but I never would have thought about doing that for branding. So
Yeah.
tell us again real quick, Maria, I know that one of your package deals is only $750. And that may, for some people, that may sound like, oh no, I don't have $750. But when we talk about, there are designers out there that are charging sometimes as much as $10,000 just for the logo. That doesn't include anything else. That's just the logo. Or they're charging, you know, just such outrageous amounts for the package when they do offer package deals, that there are a lot of people who just flat out can't tap into that and can't afford it. And I think what you're offering is so affordable and so reasonable, but you're not sacrificing quality in that process. Sometimes people have this idea that, well, if I pay less, then I'm going to get, you know, the quality isn't going to be there. And I don't think that's the case at all. And so maybe you could talk to us a little bit about that, and why people don't have to spend that much money on something that could benefit them equally as much.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to. I think that, well, I'll be honest, like a part of this does really include my views and observations on my industry, the graphic design industry. And I'll be upfront, I honestly think that a lot of designers, they do overcharge. And I understand why they're doing that. There's this idea in the graphic design industry that you have to charge really high so that you can have a high perceived value. And I get that. I do see the logic in that. But I think that that's flawed, because for me, I like my value to be seen in the quality of work that I do, not in the quantity of dollars that I'm charging. And so I prefer to let my work speak for myself as opposed to my pricing point speak for myself. And to be completely frank with you, the package that I offer is, it's a high quality website. And it's set up on Squarespace. And I find that Squarespace is great for the client, but it's also great for me as a web developer, because I'm not spending tons of hours, hand developing code or building things from scratch. And so what I've been able to do is just give an honest assessment at everything I offer, and then figure out a way to be as creative and efficient as possible so that I can deliver a package to people that doesn't break their bank.
That is incredible. And I really like that. I always tell people that as a life coach, I'm not cheap, but I am also not one of these life coaches that is charging. I know coaches out there who charge $3,000 a session, and a session usually lasts about an hour, give or take a few minutes with their clients. And I just can't in good conscience do that. And I know sometimes coaches think very much the same way that you're telling us designers think, and that is that, well, if I charge more, then my clients are going to think I'm, a much better coach. And not to brag too much on myself, but I'm a pretty good coach. I'm a really good life coach. And the problem is, I don't want to turn people away. I don't want people to miss out on an opportunity to gain services that a lot of them really need. Sometimes I will have people come to me. I offer a free session initially. Their first one's always free. And then they can decide whether or not they want to continue services with me. And so when they come to me and they get that free session, then they can decide for themselves whether I'm worth what I'm asking after that. But sometimes during that free session, people come to me with great needs, and they're broken, and they have serious issues that they want to fix in their life, and even the small amount that I charge is too much for them. And so what I find is that sometimes I reserve a certain number of hours in my month to be able to give it away. And what happens is, those clients have gotten something out of me, and they go and they tell other people who do have some money in their pocket and can actually afford me. And those people come to me and they end up paying for it, So I think that sometimes you can price yourself out of work too. And I've watched a lot of my clients do this with their products or the things that they're doing, is they price themselves so high, and 4 months later they come back to me and they're saying, I'm not getting any business. It's like, well, yeah, nobody can afford you. And I've also seen people who, they're so cheap that they're like, I'm starving to death here. I'm walking around like crazy, and I'm busy 24 hours a day, but I'm starving to death here. So I think there's a happy medium, and it sounds to me like you've really tapped into what that happy medium is.
I really think that I have. I mean, I'm certainly not one to brag, but it's the beginning of July, and I'm booked through August. And I do think you're right I think you're completely right when you say that people price themselves out of work. I think especially the graphic design industry and the web design industry, it's highly saturated. And I really feel like I've been able to stand out. A lot of people have commented on how inexpensive my pricing package is. And I think that that's because I figured out that the medium between, pricing yourself so low that people don't take you seriously, but also pricing yourself so high that no one can afford you.
Yeah, and so I want to talk a little bit about the value that, I think we're getting a little bit of feedback here. Hang on just a minute.
Yeah.
Are you getting feedback on your end?
No.
Okay, give me just a second. Yeah, so I think that I'm getting so much feedback over here. It's kind of distracting. I think that one of the things, I lost my train of thought, that people are looking for is they want to know that whatever they're paying for is actually going to benefit them. So will you tell us a little bit about how having a solid brand can benefit somebody?
Oh, absolutely. I think that that's a great question. I can definitely elaborate on that. Having a professional brand, in my opinion, and I'll give you just some tough love, I believe is the difference between having a hobby and having a business. I think that if you don't take your business seriously enough to invest in a brand, people aren't going to take you seriously. I think that your brand is just a lot of times your brand is the first impression that people have of you. And if that first impression is of some amateur design, it's going to be really hard for people to take you seriously. As much as we don't like it, we, as humans, we do tend to judge based, like, on, we judge a book by its cover, we judge on first appearances, and a lot of times, like, it would be such a shame if you were to lose a client because you didn't have a professional brand. So I would say that the benefits of having a professional brand are just having a good first impression and presenting yourself as a professional to your potential clients.
So I'm hoping, Maria, that we got everything that you just said, because on my end, you sound like everybody else, which is always want to be things that you run into when you're doing live. I love using YouTube for my interviews because they offer one of the best platforms out there. But right now, some of their live stuff with their live streaming is in beta, and every once in a while you'll run into a problem like this. Hang on just a second. I'm going to see if I can fix some stuff on my end.
No worries, no worries.
Okay. Well, I don't know that we have it fixed. Can you try turning your speakers down a little?
Yeah, sure. Is that better?
Okay. I think that's a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not great, but we'll get through what we can. So I'm gonna put some information down in the description at the bottom of this interview, and I want to give you an opportunity to tell our viewers where they could go to maybe take a look at some of the work that you've done. Do you have a website?
I do. The URL of my website is www.lovemaria, LOVEMARIA.co. So it's not .com, it's .co.
Just .co?
And then if you want, like, specifically to my design package that we reference in the show, it's just /design.
/design.
So it would be lovemaria.co/design. And then it has all the information. I actually have a how it works page, so you get a really clear idea of what the process is like from start to finish on the branding thing. So it really sets really good, really high, clear expectations on what it's going to be like to work with me and to build a brand.
Okay, well, that is wonderful. So one more thing that I want to ask before we start wrapping things up here is I'm real big on teaching my clients how to market themselves in a way that won't break the bank, and that's why I was pretty excited about our interview today, because I knew that you offer branding and things like that at a very affordable rate. But what about some of the other things that are out there? I know you talked about wanting to start a YouTube channel yourself and do some marketing that way. Do you have any tips of things that people can do to kind of get their name out there in an affordable way?
Yeah, I think that, I think for me, the biggest tip I can give and the biggest thing that I've learned, actually two things. One is focus on creating relationships with people. People buy from whom they like and whom they trust. And if you're not building a relationship with people and they don't know who you are and they're not going to give you their money. So and it costs $0 to build a relationship with someone. All it costs is you putting a little time into it, like getting to know them and becoming their friend. That's free. It takes a lot of work and it's not the most glamorous way, but for me, I love it because I have so many friends everywhere because I really focus on building relationships. And 9 times out of 10, the people that I actually care about and the people that I'm friends with are the people that end up purchasing my package because I cared about their business first. And so that would be my first tip. And the second one is if you are pitching to someone or if you are really like trying to get your services known, I follow the give, 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 ask rule. So I try to provide value 3 times to that person before I ask them for anything. So whether that's like, hey, I found this helpful link. I know that you run a health coach business. Maybe you would like this. Or, hey, I just wrote this blog post and I instantly thought of you. Do you want to read this? Or, can I help you with anything? Whatever, like it's give, 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 and then ask. And then 9 times out of 10, you ask that person for whatever you're asking, they're going to give it to you because they're so indebted to you at that point. So those 2 ways that I've been able to sell quite a lot of packages, and I've been able to really get my business out there, is through really just focusing on relationships and trying to give before I ask.
I think that is awesome. I just did a video today that will actually be posted to my YouTube channel later tonight or early tomorrow morning. Haven't decided when to launch it. And that's what it was all about, was about giving, and how if we give, then it makes it so much easier for us to get. And I talked specifically about volunteering and giving things away and things like that. So I think it's great that you mentioned that today. I'm really excited about that. And I love that philosophy, give, that's just wonderful anyway. But so I have enjoyed today's interview thoroughly. I think our chipmunking voices have gone away, so that's pretty cool. I never know what I'm going to get when we're doing an interview, especially when we go live like this. So that's pretty exciting. If there's one thing that you would like to talk about most to our audience today and let them know about you or about your services, or even just about, branding in general, what would that be?
I think that when it comes to branding, the most important thing is to be true to who you are and don't copy everyone else. Especially for me, in the online industry, you see a lot of people, they see someone successful and they're like, oh, I have to do something so similar to it, but they're actually denying who they are on the inside. I think that when you dig deep and you become self-aware and you learn who you are, and then you work with a skilled designer who can take who you are and turn it into a brand, that's when everything's aligned and you're going to have optimal success, because people know who you are, and then they see you presented in a professional manner, and they instantly click with that. So that's what I would say. Be true to who you are.
That is fantastic advice. I love that. And of course, as a life coach, that's what I tell people anyway, I help people discover their true identities, so to speak.
Yeah,
so let me ask you one more thing, because you kind of triggered a thought with me when you were talking about that. I love humor. I'm all about humor and just kind of keeping things real. And one of the interesting things, I think, is that God kind of designed us in such a way that we're, maybe the animals have humor. I don't know. I don't see my dog laughing too much at my other dog. They just sort of fight. But I love humor. And if somebody like me were to come to you and say, I really want because I've had this happen, that's why I'm asking. I would really like for my brand to stick out as somebody who has levity. I really want to be known as kind of a fun person, I've had some people tell me, well, that's not very professional. Now, would somebody like you be able to work with that? Because that's who I am. That's just my personality, just as simple as that.
That's my favorite kind of people to work with. I'm honest with you. And in terms of professionalism, especially in today's world, where the word professionalism is being redefined in my opinion. That's a whole nother story. But professionalism isn't business suits and stiff mannerisms anymore. That's just not what it is anymore. But then in terms of practicality from a design standpoint, I love designing the fun brands. That's it's the bright colors, and it's just the fun, you can just feel the energy come through those brands. That's my favorite kind. I love designing brands like that. So yeah, I wouldn't worry at all about being unprofessional, because I think that the way I would define professional is being true to who you are, confident in your message, and helpful in your services. That's how I define professional. And I know it's not the traditional definition, but I don't think that the traditional definition stands anymore.
Well, I think that is awesome. And I totally appreciate everything that you've talked about today. I think that there are a lot of people who are going to be able to benefit from what you have to offer them. And so on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and jump off here, because you've given some fantastic information for our viewers and our listeners today. And I want to remind everybody, if you're out there and you are struggling with how to come up with a really good brand for your business, I really think that getting a hold of Maria would be the way to go. And so let me remind you, her website is, make sure I get this right, Maria, www.lovemaria.co, and then Is it slash design? If they want to take a look at your work? Okay. Awesome. And we'll make sure that's down in the description at the end of this show as well. Well, Maria, thank you so much for being here today. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you. And I know that I'll be seeing more of you in the future. And I think that you are really going places. I mean, I know you already have a thriving business and have for a long time, but I see great things in your future. I really do. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you,
Laura. And to all
Laura.
of our viewers out there, I really encourage you to check out some of the other show opportunities that I have on my YouTube channel, and I'll have website information for what I do down on the bottom as well. So Maria, you have a great day, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Take care, Laura.
Bye-bye.